All right, hello, my friend here, and I'm doing a chat about lead acid batteries. A lot of people, in especially community, especially now, they don't like lead acid. They criticize lead acid. You know what I mean? And I think that it's unfair. Because the reality is they're cheap, and they have they've been around for 100 years, and they have their value, but they're good batteries. All right, now been running off grid, okay, since after Hurricane Maria. We're going on 5, 6 years already. It with lead acid batteries, guys. I've had no issues. Right, I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven batteries in parallel, which is the first no, according to people. But they say not to add more than 3 or 4. Okay, I went seven. Hey, I get purging every single time. I haven't had any issues. Okay, I have a spare one just in case one of these goes bad, but I'm not even. I have that saved up, and I make sure that I keep it nice and charged so it doesn't mess up on me. This one is running by itself with this inverter. I use it right now. I'm using it for a fan. It's been running flawless. All of these together, the batteries. I don't have a problem. They're in my house. Look, they're in my living room. Okay, they're on my dining room table. I have no problem with hydrogen. I have no problem with acid seepage. These are batteries that have been here about 6 years. Look at how clean they are, well taken care of. Okay, no smell, nothing, nothing. All right. Now, let me let me come over here really quickly to my bedroom, okay? And mind you, I am totally off grid, guys. In my bedroom, here it is. Two more. These are 8D batteries. I have two of them in parallel, all right? With these EPF or MPPT charge controllers. Lead acid, I have them running all night with my fan, and with my Alpicool 12-volt fridge running all night. Um, all lead acid, all inside of my house. If I walk over here to the bathroom, all right, my whole bathroom setup, all right, that runs the water pump right there. Another lead acid battery runs off this 410. Lead acid, everything lead acid. Okay. Um, a lot of people, they don't like lead acid batteries for many many reasons. I'm not saying that lithium is not a superior technology. Hey, hello, PR Case Files, nice to see you. You know what I'm saying is that the lead acid batteries have gotten such a bad rep. And it's only because of marketing. you know People, they scare people, because they can leak hydrogen. Look, if you overexert your system, let's say you're running really high amperages, really big things, your batteries are going to suffer. They might, put out hydrogen. All right. If you're charging them at a rate that is too high, at a voltage that is too high, you know, what's going to happen? You're going to boil. You're going to, the water's going to, evaporate. You're going to have issues. Now, if you follow the guidelines, all right, you're only supposed to charge at a voltage of at least, I'm sorry, at an amperage of at least 10 to 15% of the capacity of the battery bank that you have. So if you have a battery bank that is a 200 amp hour battery bank, then hey, charge it at a moderate level. Make sure you're around 20, maybe 10 at 10, 10 amp charger. If maybe even 15, you could push it a little bit with lead acid batteries because they are somewhat forgiving. They're forgiving in the terms of charging. Now, don't want to leave lead acid batteries uncharged. I make it a mission that my batteries will get a full charge every single day. Today was a perfect day for that. When I woke up, it was a little bit cloudy, and I knew that the sun was going to come out later here in Puerto Rico. So at 6:40 in the morning, I turned on my little 800-watt generator, which I only use to for those little particular moments, and I let the batteries charge up at least 3 hours, 3 4 hours, just to give them a little heads up. Around 10 o'clock, the sun came out full blast, so I turned off the generator. I didn't even spend $1.50 on gas. A little two-cycle generator. All I use it is for this to, top off my batteries. And I rarely do, because here in Puerto Rico we get sunshine every day. Um, but I made sure that they were topped off. I had my solar system is about 1.3 kilowatts, so I do get a consistent 40 something amp, charge during the day, and my batteries charge like 3 hours, three max 4 hours. So it works. Now, I don't want to deviate from the whole subject. The only thing I don't like about PRK says so 12 volt charging in 15, hold on, in 15 volt is max. Actually, a 12 volt battery, you should bring it up to 14.4, 14.5. Most of the charge controllers that are out there for solar, will bring up a lead acid battery to 14.4, 14.5. Now, Schumacher in particular, they have their chargers tend to take it up to 15. Um, you're really not going to damage them. I mean, I've never really felt comfortable with 15 volts, but it really isn't something that's going to damage them. And Schumacher chargers in particular do that and bring them up to 15 volts. But the consensus is 14.4 to 14.6 is a good charging level, for your batteries. Then after, let's say, an hour or two, it should drop down to 13.8, 13.6, which would be your float voltage, and that keeps it there steady. And then when the sun comes down, then you'll notice that your battery will settle that back down to 12.7, 12.6. If it's an older battery, it might go down to 12.6. You know, so that's pretty much it. I personally, I would kind of stay away from the whole 15 volt thing. And like I said in the beginning, lead acid batteries are somewhat forgiving in that aspect. But if you're charging at 15, you might lose a little bit of water. I'm religious in that watering. Okay, distilled water only. I check my batteries every month. And one thing, when you're going to add water, distilled water to your batteries, not filtered, not reverse osmosis, you know what I mean? None of that. Your batteries, they should, when you water them, they should be charged, because what happens is that the plates in your battery, when the batteries discharge, the plates have, like, they kind of like open up in essence. They separate a little bit, and then when you charge the battery, then they kind of like get, the space between the plates gets closer together. So what happens is, if you put water in your batteries when it's discharged, then once it gets charged, that water level will go up, and then it'll come out of your battery, which isn't a good thing, and it'll come out. You don't want that. You don't want to overflow them. So always water your batteries after they are fully charged. um if you're gonna have these lead acid batteries, which people say do not keep indoors, I don't believe none of that. As long as you're responsible, as long as you're not lighting matches next to them, or sparks or anything like that, you're gonna be fine. Keep it in a ventilated area. Like here right now, I'm in my living room. I have the window during the day. That fan is on, it's pushing air. Right now the front door is open, fan is on. So any hydrogen is very light, so any air I mean, any hydrogen that even tries to accumulate, it's not going to happen like in my scenario because I'm totally ventilated here. And the reason being, that also why I keep my batteries indoors is because we have a lot in my area, a lot of thieves and drug addicts and stuff. And, I would ideally like to have my battery bank outside in some kind of a box and stuff, but it's ideally, but, if you have a couple of crackheads walking by and they know you got a box full of expensive batteries, you ain't gonna have batteries very long. So, you know but I like lead acid batteries. I really do. I feel safe with them. Lithium batteries, I have the concern of the lithium in the case of an EMP, your BMS is going to burn out. And if you don't know what a BMS is, lithium batteries have like a circuit board that basically ensures that all of the cells are equally charged. Well, which is fine. Lithium are great batteries, but the problem is that in an EMP, I'm thinking that circuit board is going to go out. So I don't think I'll have that problem with a lead acid battery. Um, the one complaint I have from the lead acid batteries is that you're kind of you you're kind of guessing how much um how much you have left because you got the voltage. I mean, you can tell roughly, what what you discharged it, but generally, um, like the voltage will go down, especially if your wire size is a little thinner than it should be, or maybe the load is a little higher. And when you look at the voltage, sometimes it shows you a lower voltage, but in reality, the battery's not that discharged at all. And it happens to me all the time. Like, for example, I have this battery here, and this one, and this battery in particular, right now it's at 12.3. I've had this fan on for like maybe, I don't know, for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and that battery about an hour and a half ago was at 12.7. So right now the battery is making me believe, like, just by looking at it, I'm like, okay, I'm at 12.3, which technically, if I turn the fan off, it'll jump back to 12.5. So it's usually like 2 or 3 volts lower when you have a load. So when once that battery, once it reaches like 11.9, 11.8 under a load, then I know that I'm near 50%. And that's usually when I turn my load off. Now, mind you, when I turn the load off, it shoots back up, and then I say, "Whoa, wow! I had, I mean, it looked like it was lower than what actually was." So that's probably why my system has lasted so long as well, because I am very, the moment I see that number 12 on there, I'm like, I'm shutting loads off. So and then the my system is actually oversized for what I do with it. So that helps too because then I'm usually only discharging 20 to 30% of the capacity of my battery bank. So the batteries aren't really abused. They're well taken care of. I use everything, guys. I have a freezer running. I have a full 5 cubic inch freezer running off of my system 24/7. All right. And then the Alpicool fridge over there, that one's running off of my room system 24/7. The lights all in my house. My entire recording studio, I run everything off of solar. I am not connected to the grid at all. And I'm doing all of this with cheap lead acid batteries from Advanced Auto Parts. And these are the batteries that I'm using. You know, the DieHard 24 DC ones, which are about 86 amp hours. They're hybrid batteries, so I get a lot of heat from the solar purists. They're like, oh, but those are hybrid deep cycle batteries. I don't care. I don't care. They work. They work for me. They work. Um, so I mean, what can I say? That's really the only negative thing I have to say about these batteries is the the voltage reading. Like sometimes I wish there was a way for it to be more accurate. Some people talk about a monitor, a shunt monitor. I might get one of those. I mean, I pretty much know where I'm at in terms of the batteries. But I don't know. I don't know why people, have like speak so badly of lead acid batteries as if they were so inferior when that's not my experience, and I've been living off grid for over 6 7 years already. Well, actually, since Hurricane Maria, is about 6 years. Um, I don't know. I don't know why. I know lithium charges faster. I know lithium has a lot of the perks, but a 100 amp hour battery like the one I have there, it's about well, it's a little less than 100. That one's about $100. A 100 amp hour lithium battery is going to cost you from 600 to $1,000. If you go with Battleborn, they'll cost you $900. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, but Ruben, in the long run, you're going to spend less money if you buy Battleborn because you're going to have to replace your battery bank 3 or 4 times." Um, I don't think so. Another thing that I've been doing, which is a big no-no, according to people, they say that you have to replace your entire battery bank. If one of the batteries go bad, you have to replace the entire bank. I haven't done that. In my 6 years, two batteries went bad due to error, my own fault. My own fault. I made a mistake, and it was kind of like the learning curve, and I put an extremely high load on my battery bank in the morning when I thought that the battery still had juice, and then it turns out that those particular batteries weren't really connected to the battery bank because the cables were bad. So I'm here thinking I had like a 600 amp hour. I mean, I think it was, yeah, approximately about a 400 500 amp hour battery bank at the time. And the reality is, I was actually just running on two batteries because the cables weren't connected. Well, they were connected, but the cables were bad. So only two batteries. So I ran this huge load on two batteries, and these batteries they were aged, and I messed them up. That was my fault. After that, I replaced those two batteries with a new battery with two diehard, new batteries of the same size and model and everything. Any issues at all. So I mean, I'm not saying for you to go out and get this old junk battery and that you found in the garbage and rejuvenated it and then stick it with a brand new battery. But I think that, in my particular case, I know how well and how lightly used my batteries are. So I've added, if a battery gone bad, I just add a new one. Make sure that, and I haven't had any issues with that either. So there's a lot of stuff that I know. Like they say, the solar purists say you shouldn't do that. But I mean, you gotta do your research yourself and experience it yourself. Like right now, if a battery goes bad, I don't have the money to go out and buy six new deep cycle batteries, but I could probably get one. So I mean, like I said, you learn as you go. Um, I mean, the other negative aspect of deep cycle batteries, I mean, lead acid deep cycle batteries, um, they're heavy. They're really heavy. Especially the 8D batteries that I have in my room. Oh my God, they're like 127 pounds each. So I mean, for somebody who like travels in a trailer and stays in the boondocks and wants to conserve gasoline, I wouldn't really recommend enormous batteries like that. In that aspect, yeah, lithium looks a lot more attractive because they're light. You know, right. Sorry about that. My signal went down for a second. In a case like a person who lives on a trailer or motorhome, I recommend those monster batteries. But in my case, I mean, it's at home. I don't move them. I don't have to touch them. I don't have to take them anywhere. So, I don't care. They can weigh 300 pounds. I don't care as long as they're there. As long as they work. So those are the two cons of lead acid batteries that I've experienced the last 6.5 years. They're heavy and they're a little confusing. Other than that, I think they're wonderful. I think they're great. I'm going to continue to be with lead acid batteries. I like the manual aspect of physically putting water into them. It only takes a couple of minutes. I don't like AGM. I don't trust AGMs. I think AGMs. People say, oh, well, they don't leak. Well, I think they dry out. And like that. I want something that I can monitor and like let me. I'm a videographer, okay, and I'm a music producer, but I also do shoot music videos and photography. And when we're doing a session, be it video recording or be it photography, and all professional photographers, we keep our cameras on. Why? Because we have absolute control of the shutter speed, aperture, of everything. So I apply that same with my batteries. I want a battery that I can monitor, that I can see water is in it, what water is needed, that I can physically interact with it and see the voltage. And so, not everyone has that discipline. And if you don't, then AGMs, yeah, lithium is a great option. But if you want to save some money and if you don't take in the time and to me it's like therapy. It's like at the end of the batteries, I got to check the water levels. I like doing all that stuff, checking the specific gravity. I like taking the cables off and cleaning them up. I mean, that's just me. But then again, that's why my battery bank is it will probably years. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to do this lead acid batteries, guys. All right, we got Acro. You're forgetting one more thing about lead acid batteries. The lead, when they die, you have to make you get rid of them properly. You can't just throw it in the dump. No, absolutely. That good thing about lead acid batteries is that Advanced Auto Parts will give you tools for each of them. So if I have 3 or 4 of them, man, and let's say they're old, I just take it over there and I get some money and I let them, get rid of the lead. So it's actually for me. But I understand your point. Yeah, lead is lead is not a good to have around like that. You know, but $10 a pop, that's some good money. Pick up some batteries, find them anywhere, bring them to Advanced Auto Parts. Make some money. But like I said, I mean, I really, I'm a fan of lead acid batteries. I like them. I'm safe with them. I feel that they're simple technology. Tried and tested for the last 100 years. I love those batteries, man. And I get mad when I hear these people all talk about criticizing lead acid, but it's people who live. It's not me. I mean, I'm struggling. I live in Puerto Rico. I don't make much. You know what I'm saying? And I live totally off grid. And if these batteries have been faithful to me and good to me, and I've seen how, you know, exactly. Acroyear says you can't drain them more than 50%. Exactly. I drain mine like maybe 25, 30%. I hard bring them down to 50. A lot of people, you're gonna mess them up even the first time. People don't. A lot of people don't have the discipline to have lead acid batteries. And then a year later, the battery's dead. I mean, you've been abusing. Bring it down to 20%. And then you don't water it, and then you put it in a hot place, and then and then you speed charge it. 100 amp hour. You speed charge it at 50 amps, and then they complain, oh, lead acid sucks. No, it doesn't. Lead acid is wonderful and it's cheap and it's available. In a shit down scenario, you could go, maybe to a Walmart or a Pet Boys, and you could find a marine battery, deep cycle. They might not be Trojans, specific, um, deep cycle batteries, but they're good. I'm telling you, they're good. That's what I live off of, guys. I'm talking out of my ass. I live off. Look, that's it, man. Right there. You go, man. I live. My whole refrigerator depends on these batteries. You know, everything right there, and they work, man. Acroyear says, I'm worried what would happen if everybody in Puerto Rico used lead acid battery. In 10 years, you'd have a lead pollution problem. Well, I mean, Acroyear, you got to look at this. Think of cars. There's millions of cars here have lead acid batteries. So, you know, really, there's really no difference there. Lithium, people talk about lithium, but lithium, it might there, but if you look at how lithium is cultivated, it also is damaging to the environment. So that's pretty much it. The good thing about lead acid batteries, and the good and the bad. A lot of people say, and you guys mentioned earlier, the lead, but these lead acid batteries are like almost 100% recyclable. That's why they pay you to bring them back. So the lead is being reused. There's actually these guys in India who saw they actually manually rebuild lead acid batteries. And I'm like, oh, I gotta take a little trip to India to learn that craft. And they melt the lead and they put new plates and they seal the plastic casing. It's awesome. I mean, that's something that I would really like to like that. I would never I would never need to buy a new battery. I just you know. But anyways, I mean that's all I got about lead acid batteries. I love lead acid. Okay. Acroyear says, "Oh, I found a company called Aikiko that makes 12-volt fridges. Can't wait to get the money to buy one." Okay, that's cool. Look, I bought a 12-volt fridge off a guy on Facebook Marketplace. I recommend these. These are, let me show you. These are the Alpicool Alpicool compressor fridge. They're 12 volts. They're not that big, but this is the C15. The C20 just has a bigger lid so more things fit, but it's a freezer and fridge. And these run online about 250 to 300. The bigger size ones are like maybe 300, but they're really good and really silent. There's another brand called Dometic. Dometic are very popular amongst like people that live in trailers and stuff. But Dometic tends to be a lot more expensive. So if you're looking for an inexpensive 12-volt fridge, those are really good. They're cheap. I got mine for like 100 and I think it was like 130. But then I mean I got a deal on it from this guy. Thank God, it was a blessing, man. But normally those run about 250, and but I think I honestly I'm gonna say something about 12-volt fridges. Okay, now that I have an experience with them, they're good, they're efficient, but I think they're a little overrated. The efficiency of running the fridge directly from the battery versus through an inverter, in my personal opinion, is nominal. So I mean, I don't dislike my 12-volt fridge. I like it, but I think that between a 12-volt fridge and a $100 Walmart mini fridge, it's about the same. You know, it's about the same. So I don't know. You can decide on that because with what you'll save getting a regular Walmart fridge, you can invest it and probably get two extra solar panels and maybe even a battery. You know what I mean? So, but that's just a thought, But I mean, 12-volt fridges are really good. You could just hook them up straight to a car battery or a deep cycle battery, and you got power, and those compressors are really efficient. So that's what's going on, guys. Like I said in my previous video, my freezer is not 12 volts, and I have a 12-volt system running my entire house with a 5 cubic foot deep freezer, which is running off of an inverter all night, and it hardly pulls any power. I have like more than enough power like during the day to turn on the studio, to turn on my fans. My wife does her iron. It takes like 2 hours to do, and got enough power for everything. So, and all done with lead acid batteries, the ones you guys criticize so much. Um, Acro, yes, says, in my opinion, you only really need electric for refrigeration, maybe a radiator. You can do everything else without power. You're absolutely right. You can live off grid, um, and what you really need is refrigeration for survival. In my case, I have extra little luxuries, and I actually have to run my recording studio, to make a living. And my modem is running off of the system. But you're absolutely right. Refrigeration, that's all you really need, and everything else, man, you can make do. You could have candles. You could do your lighting. Well, actually, I'm gonna say one more thing. I need a fan. I need a fan. So I don't think you mentioned refrigeration, but here in Puerto Rico it gets so hot and the mosquitoes will bite the hell out of you. I need not only refrigeration. I need a fan. I went a whole year after Hurricane Maria with no power. And the whole island was without power for an entire year. And I suffered, man. I suffered because of the mosquitoes and the heat. You know, yeah, you need a fan here, man. You really need a fan. Like in the States, it's cooler, but then again, I mean, over there, got to worry about the cold. But you can get kerosene heaters or them buddy heaters that run off of propane and stuff. There's more options. But yeah, refrigeration and a fan. I gotta add a fan to that. Well, anyways, guys, that's my video about the 12-volt batteries. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Okay, Acro Year says, I wanted to ask you, what do you do with your panels during storm? Do you bring them in? Well, look, um, when we've had a couple of storms go by, my solar panels, they are actually, they're not, I did everything DIY, so they're resting on, cinder blocks, and they're well tied down. So when a regular storm is coming, maybe 40-mile-an-hour winds, what I do is I go up on the roof and with rope I just tie them down. I tie them down. There was an occasion where I took duct tape and I kind of duct tape, like three big strips, and I used rope. Now, in a hurricane, I will definitely bring them down. In the future, I'm gonna build some kind of a rack system, but a hurricane is a hurricane. I mean, a hurricane can lift a cow. So so yeah, I was actually having that conversation with my wife earlier today. We were on the roof, and yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, I would have to bring them down, because even if I tie them down well, there might be damage. There might be flying debris that will land on the solar panel. So definitely anything above 40 mile per hour winds, them things are coming down. But other than that, I tie them down with rope. If it's just a regular tropical depression, Acro says, what do people who have them mounted to a roof do? They leave them up here in a hurricane. When you have a company that actually installs your solar panels professionally, according to their statistics, their installations are supposed to withstand up to, I think, 130-mile-an-hour winds. But they have these rack systems which are bolted into your roof, and they're actually, they say that it's pretty safe, and they have warranties. Now, I don't think about warranties, because after a hurricane, ain't nobody gonna come to your house to fix them. They're gonna probably show up like 2 months later when everything is back in order. So I don't believe in warranties for this type of stuff. But yeah, the companies, they say that they withstand 150 mile, I think 130 mile an hour winds, and due to the racking system. But basically, like I said, they ensure they're not gonna fly off, is what they're saying. But they don't know, man. That, pieces of tree, and we're talking about a glass square, flying branches, and yeah, a flying cow land on your solar panel. That'd be funny. You go up to your roof and you see a cow laying on dead on your top of your solar panels. Not a pretty sight. But like during hurricanes and tornadoes, you got hail as well. That might crack a solar panel, even though they are pretty resilient. In terms of like withstanding some hail. But Acria says burger for a month. Fuck that. For a month? One cow? I think that would probably give you a burger for the next 6 months. Well, but knowing me, it probably last 2 months because I like burgers. But yeah, man, batteries, lead acid batteries. People don't like them, man. People criticize them. You know, especially these YouTubers. Oh, you eat a lot. Acro here says, "Oh, you don't know how I eat." Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Oh man. But anyways, just to give an ending to this video, guys. At the end of the day, you got to do what works for you, and this is a DIY route. This is how I've done it. This is what works for me. Can it be better? Yeah, it can. Can I improve? Can I evolve? Absolutely. But as of right now, I mean, everything's working perfect, and for the last 5 6 years, everything's been working perfectly. So, like the saying says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So in the future, I may, if there's money, I may do the whole upgrade to lithium, but that's like in a very far off future. And I still won't abandon the lead acid batteries because I really trust them. They're like that old Chevrolet truck that you have that that after the EMP everybody be broken down, but yours, it'll still turn on. Probably squeaky a little bit and smoky, but it'll get you places. Old faithful. So that's how I see these lead acid batteries. Anyways, guys, take care. God bless. Thank you for participating in the forum. Shout out to all my friends. Acro Year, thank you for all the wonderful questions and comments and stuff. And I'll talk to you guys later. I'm getting a little tired here. So take care, guys. Peace.